Awakening in Stardust. The emergency lights flickered across the abandoned corridor of the Hollow Finch like dying fireflies on a summer night. Kalen Rowe wiped condensation from his forehead as he maneuvered through the ship's lower decks. His breath formed small clouds in the frigid air while his footsteps echoed against metal walls worn by time and neglect. Engineering log 347. He spoke into his wrist communicator. Temperature systems still malfunctioning. Ship integrity at 63%. Continuing exploration of Cargo Bay 7 for salvageable parts. The solitude didn't bother him anymore. After 3 years drifting through the Ghost Ring, a forgotten loop of decommissioned space stations and abandoned vessels, loneliness had become a familiar companion. Like an old scar that occasionally ached but no longer bled, his scanner beeped suddenly, detecting an energy signature hidden beneath layers of debris. "That's odd," Kalen muttered, pushing aside a fallen support beam to reveal what appeared to be part of another ship embedded within the Finch. The metal was unlike anything he'd encountered before. Obsidian black with violet accents that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light. Intricate symbols etched its surface, pulsing with faint bioluminescence when his fingers traced their patterns. "This isn't standard Union tech," he whispered. "Not hegemony either." His scanner identified the structure as part of an ancient vessel at least 3,000 years old. But what caught his attention was the energy reading emanating from within. Something was still active after all this time. Using his plasma cutter, Kalen created an opening large enough to squeeze through. The air inside was stale yet carried an unusual scent reminiscent of crushed petals and ozone. The walls curved organically, leading to a chamber bathed in dim purple light. And there, suspended in a crystalline pod, was Kalen's breath caught in his throat. She appeared humanoid, but unmistakably alien. Her skin shimmered with a subtle violet hue under transparent casing. Her features were sharp yet elegant, with a regal quality that transcended species. Her eyes closed in suspended animation, yet something about her suggested terrible power even in slumber. "Extraordinary," he breathed, approaching cautiously. The pod's surface responded to his proximity, illuminating with symbols similar to those outside. Kalen studied them, recording everything with his scanner before noticing what appeared to be a control interface. "I shouldn't," he said to himself. Yet curiosity overwhelmed caution as it always had. His fingers hovered over the glowing panel. "Just readings, that's all I want." The moment he touched it, the pod hissed, releasing a cloud of iridescent mist. The woman inside shuddered, her eyes flying open. They were entirely black with flecks of silver like fragments of stars. The chamber's temperature plummeted as the pod's casing retracted. Her body arched upward, gasping for air. Her fingers, each with 5 elegant digits, clawed at emptiness. "Who awakens Thalira?" "Velsarin, last queen of the Noctrian Empire." She rasped, her voice like silk over broken glass. Before Kalen could respond, she inhaled deeply, her pupils dilating. As she fixed her gaze upon him, her mouth opened, revealing teeth that extended into sharp points. "Human," she whispered with a mixture of hunger and wonder. "Your scent awakens my hunger." In one fluid motion, she was before him, faster than his eyes. Could track her cold fingers gripped his shoulders as she inhaled again along his neck. 3,000 years, she murmured. 3,000 years of emptiness, and I awaken to find you. Your emotional frequency, it resonates with the old songs. Kalen remained frozen as her cool breath caressed his skin. "What are you?" Her black eyes studied him with predatory intensity mixed with something else. Curiosity, perhaps even desperation. "I am the last of those who once ruled 1,000 suns," she replied, "and I am starving." Blood and starlight. Thalira's grip tightened on Kalen's shoulders, her nails pressing against his flight suit without breaking skin. Her hunger radiated from her in waves, cold and ancient like starlight from dead suns. "Please." Kalen managed his voice steady despite the fear coursing through him. "I can help you find sustenance, whatever you need." A bitter laugh escaped her violet lips, What I need flows through your veins, human, mixed with emotions I haven't tasted in millennia. Her face hovered inches from his. Fear, determination, curiosity, resilience. Such a complex blend. Something shifted in her expression. The predatory hunger receded slightly, replaced by what might have been recognition. You're different. Your emotional signature resembles the bond frequencies of my people. How is this possible? She released him abruptly, staggering backward, her movements no longer fluid but jerky and uncoordinated. 3,000 years, she whispered, collapsing against the pod's edge. Too long without feeding, my strength fades. Kalen's scientific mind overrode his instinct to flee. You feed on blood and emotions. Yes, she hissed the word. The Noctrians were empathic consumers. Energy, emotion, life force, all carried in the blood of sentient beings. We did not merely kill. We communed. The ship suddenly lurched violently, throwing them both to the floor. Emergency alarms blared through the corridors. Red warning lights bathed the chamber. What's happening? Thalira demanded, attempting to stand but failing. Kalen checked his wrist scanner. Proximity alert, something's latched onto the hull. He helped her up instinctively, despite everything. Pirates or scavengers. They're cutting through the secondary airlock. Her black eyes widened. My emergence must have triggered dormant beacons. My stasis pod was designed to signal surviving Noctrians. Not all who hunt us are allies. We need to move, Kalen decided, supporting her weight against him. My quarters are secured several decks up. They made slow progress through the labyrinthine corridors of the hollow Finch Thalira, growing weaker with each step. The distant sound of metal being breached echoed through the ship's skeleton. I can sense them. She murmured, her voice fading. 5 beings, mercenaries, bounty hunters, their greed pulses like a beacon, their desire to capture, not kill. Capture who? You? The last Noctrian queen, a valuable prize to some, a weapon to others, a curiosity. Her legs buckled. Beneath her, I cannot continue without sustenance. Kalen made a decision that would alter everything. Take what you need from me, just enough to reach safety. Thalira looked up, her star-flecked eyes widening. You would offer this, knowing what I have. I've seen enough monsters to recognize one, he replied. Whatever you are, I don't think you're that. Her cold fingers brushed his face. Reckless human, I could drain you completely. But you won't, he countered with unexpected certainty. You've had multiple chances. A distant explosion rocked the ship. The hunters were inside. Your trust is misplaced but necessary, she whispered, pulling him closer. I will take only what I need. This will forge a connection between us. A temporary bond. Do you consent? Kalen nodded. Do it. Her mouth found his neck teeth sharp against his skin but not yet piercing. Speak your name so I may know whom I bond with. Kalen Rowe. Kalen. She repeated his name like a sacred word. I am Thalira Velsarin, last queen of the Noctrian collective. Then her teeth broke skin. The sensation wasn't pain exactly, but something far more intimate. A rush of cold followed by waves of pleasure cascading through his consciousness. Images flashed behind his eyes. Stars, being born, planets crumbling, civilizations rising and falling. He felt Thalira's presence inside his mind, ancient and vast, yet somehow fragile. When she pulled away, her eyes glowed with renewed energy, silver starlight dancing in their depths. Her skin flushed deeper purple vitality returning to her limbs. She licked a drop of crimson from her lip. Your essence, she breathed. It carries memories of loss, yet hope persists. How fascinating. Kalen felt lightheaded but strangely invigorated. We should keep moving. Thalira nodded, helping him stand. Her strength returned while his diminished temporarily. The balance between them shifted. They're coming, she warned. But now, I can protect us. As if summoned by her words, heavy footsteps approached. From the adjoining corridor, shadows stretched across the floor, cast by beings carrying weapons designed for capturing, not killing. Thalira pulled Kalen close, her lips brushing his ear. Trust me again. Her body began to change. Not monstrously, but subtly more predator than Queen Darkness seemed to gather around her like a cloak of night itself. "My hunters have found us," she whispered. "Now they become the hunted." Crimson whispers? The darkness surrounding Thalira pulsed with ethereal energy as she stepped forward. Her movements fluid once more, graceful and lethal. "Stay behind me, Kaelin," she commanded, her voice resonating with newfound power. The first hunter rounded the corner, a hulking figure in battle-scarred armor, his face obscured by a breathing apparatus designed for multiple atmospheres. "Target acquired," he growled into his comm unit, the Noctrian female and a human male. 4 more hunters appeared, weapons aimed at Thalira. "Queen Velsarin," the leader addressed her with forced reverence, "the Collector offers generous terms for your willing surrender. The human will not be harmed." Thalira's laugh echoed through the corridor, cold and musical. "Your Collector seeks what he cannot understand." She extended her hands, darkness coiling around her fingers like living smoke. "I declined similar offers 3 millennia ago. My answer remains unchanged." The hunters opened fire energy nets designed to immobilize without killing. Thalira moved with impossible speed, dissolving into shadow before reforming behind the first hunter. Her hands grasped his helmet, twisting with precise force. "Your fear tastes familiar," she whispered as he collapsed, the dread of prey recognizing its predator. The remaining hunters scattered, firing wildly. Kaelin ducked behind a fallen support beam, watching in awe as Thalira danced between energy blasts. She was beautiful and terrifying, consuming the shadows, themselves becoming one with the darkness. Within moments, 4 hunters lay unconscious. The 5th dropped his weapon, raising trembling hands. "Please, I was only following orders." Thalira approached him slowly. "Return to your Collector. Tell him the Khar, Queen of Night, awakens. Tell him she is not alone." When the hunter fled, Thalira turned to Kaelin, her eyes still glowing with power. The darkness around her receded, leaving her looking almost vulnerable. "You're afraid," she observed. "Not afraid," he corrected, standing impressed. She studied him. "The blood bond lets me sense your emotions, your truth. You've seen violence before." Kaelin nodded, leading them toward the upper decks. "Earth Proxima War. I was a research engineer, developed weapons I thought would save lives." His voice grew distant. "They didn't." Thalira walked beside him, their steps synchronizing naturally. "You carry guilt. It flavors your essence." "My sister enlisted because of my patriotic speeches," he said simply. "She never came home." They reached Kaelin's quarters, a modest space transformed into a combination workshop and living area. Monitors displayed ship diagnostics while half-assembled devices cluttered every surface. "Your sanctuary," Thalira observed, trailing her fingers across his workbench. "It carries your emotional imprint, solitude, determination, purpose." Kaelin secured the door setting. "Proximity alerts. They'll return with reinforcements. We need to reach the command deck. Prepare for emergency launch." Thalira sat on his narrow bed, suddenly looking exhausted. "The feeding restored some strength, but I've been in stasis too long. My abilities drain me." She looked up, meeting his gaze. "Tell me of your world, Kaelin, your time while I recover." He hesitated, then joined her, keeping careful distance. "Earth survived the war, barely expanded outward, established colonies. Most people never leave their home systems. The Ghost Ring, where we are now, it's forgotten space, unclaimed, unwanted." "Like you," she observed. Self-exiled, Kaelin didn't deny it. "What about your people, the Noctrians?" Pain flashed across her features. "Gone, scattered, hunted to extinction." She closed her eyes momentarily. "We were not always predators. Once we were scholars, explorers, keepers of knowledge. What happened? Evolution, adaptation." Her voice grew distant. "Our world orbited a dying star. As light faded, our bodies changed. We began consuming emotional energy carried in blood. The sharing was sacred at first, a communion between willing participants. She looked at her hands. Then came the wars, the hunger, the empire. Her eyes met his. I led a rebellion against my own kind, those who had become monsters who consumed worlds rather than individuals. The Civil War nearly destroyed us. What remained of both sides agreed to stasis sleep until a solution could be found. A bitter smile touched her lips. I appear to be the only one who survived, and now the Collector wants you, as weapon, as curiosity, as breeding stock. She shrugged. It matters little. The Noctrian civilization is lost either way. Kalen moved closer, drawn by something beyond logic. Maybe not entirely lost. Thalyra looked at him, puzzled. What do you mean? You're still here, he said simply. Your knowledge, your memories. Their hands rested inches apart on the bed's surface. Neither moved to close the gap, but both acutely aware of its presence. The blood bond we share, she said quietly. It creates connection. Deeper than you realize. In Noctrian tradition, such bonds were reserved for mates, for those who would share centuries together. Is that why I can sense your emotions now? He asked. I feel your sadness, your loneliness. She nodded. The bond grows stronger with proximity, with time, with, she hesitated, intimacy. Their eyes met, understanding passing between them unspoken. The ship's warning system suddenly blared, breaking the moment, multiple vessels approaching. The automated voice announced, hostile signatures detected. Kalen jumped up, checking. The monitors. 6 ships. The Collector didn't waste time. Thalyra stood, her expression hardening. They will not take me, and they will not harm you. She placed her hand on his shoulder. Your blood has sustained me. Your essence has awakened something I thought lost. Her touch sent electricity through him, intensifying the connection between them. He could feel her resolve, her determination, her growing attachment to him. What do we do? He asked. We fight, she replied, her eyes glittering with starlight. Together. Forbidden communion. The command deck of the Hollow Finch thrummed with emergency protocols as Kalen's fingers flew across control panels. The main view screen displayed 6 vessels arranged in hunting formation, their weapon systems powered and targeting his ship. They're hailing us, he announced, bringing the communication system online. The screen flickered, revealing a figure shrouded in ornate robes, his features obscured by an intricate mask of shifting metal plates. Only, his eyes remained visible, pale and cold as distant moons. Queen Velsarin. The figure's voice resonated with artificial enhancement. How magnificent to find you awakened after all this time. I am the Collector, preserver of lost civilizations. Thalyra stepped forward, her posture regal despite the circumstances. My people were not lost, we chose separation. Yet here you stand. The last Noctrian. The Collector's mask shifted, forming an approximation of a smile. My preservation chambers await you, a place of honor among my collection. Your knowledge, your genetic material, your abilities, all safeguarded for eternity. Imprisoned, she corrected. Studied, harvested. The Collector's attention shifted to Kalen. And your human pet. What purpose does he serve? A temporary food source, perhaps. Noctrians were always partial to human emotion. The richness of your fear, the complexity of your love. Kalen felt Thalyra's anger pulse through their bond like electricity. He is under my protection. She stated, her voice deadly calm. Harm him and whatever remains of Noctrian knowledge dies with me. You misunderstand? The Collector replied. I offer preservation, not destruction. Surrender now, and your human may even join my collection. A companion. Exhibit, perhaps. Kalen muted the transmission, turning to Thalyra. The engines need 3 minutes to reach full power. Can you stall him? She nodded. Do what you must. I'll handle the Collector. As Kalen worked beneath control panels, reconnecting, emergency systems bypassing damaged circuitry. Thalyra resumed the dialogue. her voice carrying the authority of a queen who once commanded star systems. Through their bond, Kaylin felt fragments of her emotions, fury at being treated as a specimen, determination to escape. Fear not for herself, but for him. The realization startled him. How had he become so important to her so quickly? The ship shuddered as warning beams struck its shields. 2 minutes, he called out. We need to charge the jump. Drive. The Lyra turned from the screen, her eyes meeting his. He's deploying boarding craft mercenaries armed with stasis weapons. We can't fight them all. She approached him, placing her hands on either side of his face. There is another way, a deeper bond, one that would temporarily amplify my abilities enough to create a psychic barrier. Give us time to escape. What kind of bond? He asked, though part of him already knew. Among my people, she explained, the ultimate communion was not merely blood but essence, physical union combined with psychic merging. It was sacred, rare. Her eyes searched his. For me to access such power with a human is forbidden by ancient laws. But those laws died with my people. Kaylin felt heat rise within him, despite the ship's chill. Their connection, already profound, pulsed with new awareness. You mean, yes, she whispered. Complete joining, body and mind. The energy created would be enough. Another impact rocked the ship. Emergency lights flashed. Warning, of imminent breach 1 minute until engines are ready. He said, not enough time. Her fingers traced his jawline. This would change you, change us both. The connection would be permanent in ways you cannot fully comprehend. The proximity alarms blared. Boarding craft attached to the outer hull. Cutting tools began piercing the ship's skin. Kaylin made his decision, pulling her close. I've been alone too long anyway. Their lips met cold against warm. The sensation sent shockwaves through the bond already connecting them. Her mouth tasted of stardust and ancient knowledge, his of life and immediacy. As clothing fell away, the purple luminescence of her skin cast ethereal patterns across his own. Their bodies joined on the command deck beneath the glow of emergency lights and distant stars. Each touch deepened the psychic connection. Kaylin gasped as centuries of memories flooded through him, civilizations rising and falling, stars being born and dying, endless space and terrible solitude. See me? The Lyra whispered against his skin. Know me as no one has. He opened, himself completely to her, sharing his own memories. Earth's skies filled with fire, his sister's laugh, the crushing weight of guilt, his self-imposed exile among abandoned ships, and finally the moment he discovered her pod, the spark of hope rekindled. Their movements became synchronized, breath-matching, heartbeats aligning. The physical pleasure intense but secondary to the mental fusion occurring between them. Kaylin felt power building within and around them. A storm of psychic energy, now. The Lyra cried out, her back arching as waves of pleasure and power crested through them. Both energy exploded outward from their joined bodies, a pulse of pure psionic force that rippled through the ship and beyond. The boarding parties froze in their tracks, stunned by the psychic blast. The collectors' vessels drifted momentarily powerless. In the aftermath, they clung to each other, trembling. The Lyra's eyes glowed with renewed strength, while Kaylin felt changed at a cellular level. The bond between them no longer a temporary connection but a permanent bridge. The engines, she reminded him. Her voice gentle, still dazed. He returned to the controls. Jump drive charged. Course set for the Crimson Nebula. It's uninhabited, uncharted. We can hide there. Regroup. As the hollow Finch broke free from the disabled vessels accelerating toward escape, the Lyra helped him to his feet, their bodies still humming with shared energy. What happens now? He asked, drawing her close. Between us. She traced the spot, where she had first fed from him, now marked with a faint pattern like scattered stars. In the old traditions, we would be considered soul-bound, neither fully separate nor completely merged, two beings existing in harmony. And is that what you want, her? Expression softened vulnerability showing through her regal facade. I have existed for millennia, Kaylin known countless beings across hundreds of worlds, Never have I encountered one whose essence complemented my own so perfectly. She pressed, her forehead to his. What I want ceased to matter when my civilization fell, but with you I find myself wanting again. The ship entered jump space, stars blurring around them as they escaped. The immediate danger passed, but both knew the Collector would not abandon his pursuit. As they stood watching space distort around them, their fingers intertwined, Kalen realized with perfect clarity that while he had awakened Thalira from physical stasis, she had awakened something within him, long, dormant, hope, eternal. Orbit the Crimson Nebula stretched before them, a vast cloud of ionized gas and stellar remnants. Its swirling scarlet patterns created natural interference, shielding them from long-range sensors. The hollow finch drifted deeper into this cosmic sanctuary, its systems running silent. 7 days had passed since their escape from the Collector. 7 days of healing, learning, adapting. 7 days of growing connection. Kalen stood at the observation window watching stellar formations shift like living entities. His reflection showed subtle changes. Silver streaks now ran through his dark hair. His eyes carried flecks of starlight, an echo of Thalira's own. The bond had transformed him physically, marking him as something neither fully human nor Noctrian, but something unique. Beautiful, isn't it? Thalira's voice came from behind him, her arms encircling his waist, her chin resting on his shoulder. My people once believed nebulae were the dreams of dying stars. He leaned into her embrace, their energies harmonizing instantly. What does that make us, two drifters hiding in another's dream? Perhaps we are becoming our own dream, she suggested, turning him to face her. The changes in Thalira were equally profound. The desperate hunger that had defined her awakening now balanced and controlled. Her feeding had become gentle communion rather than desperate necessity. And through their bond, Kalen freely offered what she needed, both blood and emotion. Their exchanges now mutual. Sustenance. The repairs are complete, he said. Life support stabilized, hull integrity restored. We could reach the outer colonies within 2 weeks. And then, she asked the question they had both avoided. Kalen took her hands in his. Then we have choices, difficult ones. The main console chimed, interrupting their moment, a transmission breaking through even their hidden location. Kalen activated the screen with reluctance. The Collector's mask appeared unchanged, but his eyes burned with intensity. Impressive Queen Velsarin, the psychic barrier, the escape, your bond with the human stronger than anticipated. His artificial voice carried notes of admiration beneath the menace, but ultimately futile. My resources are vast, my patience eternal. What do you want? Kalen demanded, to offer terms less generous than before but still beneficial. The Collector's mask shifted, forming different expressions as he spoke. I have cataloged 16 other vessels containing Noctrian stasis pods, all damaged. All occupants deceased save one. Thalira stiffened beside him. You lie. Observe. The screen split, showing a preservation chamber, a figure suspended in specialized fluid, a male Noctrian, his violet skin paler than Thalira's, his body showing signs of injury but alive. Varek. She whispered the name, escaping her lips before she could prevent it. My brother. Indeed. The Collector's satisfaction evident. Last scion of the royal bloodline. Besides yourself, of course, my offer is simple: surrender yourself to my collection and your brother will be released to the human's care, both allowed to depart. And if we refuse? Kalen asked, though he knew the answer. Then my hunters will never cease. I will pursue you across galaxies for however long it takes, and when I finally obtain you, Queen Velsarin, your brother will be dissected for research purposes, the human pet terminated. The transmission ended, leaving them in silence, broken only by the ship's subtle humming. Varek lives, Thalira's voice trembled with emotion. My brother, my confidant, my ally in the rebellion. She turned to Kalen, conflict evident in her eyes. He would understand, our bond would honor it. You're considering surrender, Kalen realized, to save both of you. Yes. She placed her hand over his heart. What the collector doesn't understand is that through our bond a part of me would remain free, regardless of my physical imprisonment. No. Kalen's rejection was immediate. There must be another way. His mind raced through possibilities, calculations, plans. The collector mentioned 16 vessels. We need their locations. Thalira's eyes widened, understanding dawning. You believe others might survive. If your brother lived, others might too. Preserved, but damaged, overlooked. Hope flared between them, transmitted through their connection. Kalen moved to the navigation console, pulling up star charts. If we can locate these vessels, gather survivors. A new beginning. She finished his thought. Not an empire, but a refuge, a home. Their planning continued through ship's night mapping, possible locations, calculating risks. Together they crafted something neither had possessed before. A future dawn cycle found them in the ship's small medical bay. Thalira, seated beside Kalen as he reclined on the examination table. Medical sensors monitored his vitals as they prepared for the ritual that would complete their transformation. Are you certain? She asked one final time. The change cannot be undone. Once your genetic structure incorporates Noctrian elements. He smiled, reaching up to trace the contours of her face. I was never meant to return to Earth. You were never meant to rebuild an empire. His eyes held absolute certainty. But together, perhaps we can create something new, something neither of our kinds imagined. She bent down, kissing him deeply, then whispered against his lips. Then let it be done. The final communion began with an exchange of blood, more deliberate, more purposeful, than those before. Thalira's teeth finding the familiar spot on his neck, while his prepared needle drew violet essence from her wrist. Their blood mingled in a crystal vial, ancient symbols etched into its surface. Through their bond, Kalen felt her ancestral knowledge flowing guidance for the procedure. The vial's contents began to glow as they added elements from the ship's medical stores, creating a catalyst for transformation. For my people. Thalira spoke the ritual words, her voice carrying the weight of lost civilization. This union represents continuation, not of bloodline but of spirit, not of empire, but of understanding, for my people. Kalen responded, his voice steady. This union represents evolution, not abandonment of humanity, but its expansion, not forgetting the past but creating new future. Together they drank from the vial. The sensation burned through them both. Cellular reconstruction beginning immediately. Kalen gasped as changes accelerated, his lifespan extending, his senses sharpening. Thalira too transformed, her dependency on blood diminishing, her connection to life strengthening. When it finished, they lay together, bathed in starlight from the observation window. Two beings forever altered. Now truly neither human nor Noctrian, but something between. Something new. The collector will still hunt us, Kalen said later as they stood at the ship's controls preparing to leave their nebula sanctuary. Let him try, Thalira replied, strength and serenity in her voice. We are no longer prey. The hollow Finch powered up, engines glowing. With renewed energy, its course set not toward populated systems but deeper into unexplored space, where damaged stasis pods might wait, where others of Thalira's kind might sleep, where new possibilities existed. As the ship accelerated, Kalen felt Thalira's consciousness brush against his, their thoughts, emotions, and purposes now permanently intertwined. No longer queen and engineer, no longer predator and prey, but equals, partners, pioneers. What shall we name it? She asked. This new thing we become. He considered, then smiled. Perhaps we shouldn't name it at all. Let it define itself through our actions, our choices. The nebula's crimson light faded behind them as they jumped to faster-than-light travel stars streaked past the viewports. Like possibilities without end in the space between heartbeats, between stars, between civilizations, Thalira and Kalen found what neither had thought possible. A path forward, neither human nor alien but uniquely their own. Their journey had only just begun.